Hi there, it's Jennifer McGuire, and I'm really excited to be a part of Ellen Hudson's 12 Tags of Christmas with a Feminine Touch. I'm going to be using some of Ellen's products and Hero Arts to create some ombre glitter effects with inlay die cutting. It sounds crazy, but it's so fun and easy to do. To get started, I have the Hero Arts snowflake die, and I'm going to die cut this from a piece of light gray cardstock. Now, you'll notice when I take this out, the center pieces on the negative space are kind of wobbly there, and I need to make sure that they're nice and positioned. So this is my trick for that. You see how they're kind of wobbly, those little pieces there? I'm taking a piece of micropore tape, which is kind of like a great temporary tape that you can use as a tool for crafting. I'm going to take a piece of that tape and put it sticky side up on my table. Then I'm going to lay that negative space of the snowflake right down onto it upside down, and I'm going to move those center pieces so they're positioned perfectly. That tape will hold them in place as I transfer this to this double-sided tape piece. Okay, so this double-sided tape piece is just a piece I cut from some Be Creative tape. I'm going to remove one side of the release paper, so you see all that sticky is sticking up there. And I'm going to put that right onto the back of our snowflake die opening. So this is going to put adhesive along the back side of it, and you'll see why in a moment. Now there is adhesive exposed there in the center, but I'm just going to press that tape gently, remove the tape, and now all those little wobbly pieces are perfectly positioned on that adhesive backing. Okay, so now adhesive is exposed there in the center, taking the release paper and rubbing it along there just to make sure all that cardstock is pushed into that double-sided tape. Using my bone folder to really press it in. Now you've got all that stickiness exposed in the center. So we're going to add some glitter to this. I like to work on coffee filters because they're great for catching all that extra glitter. And I'm using some Elizabeth Crafts glitter. I really like, or Elizabeth Craft Designs glitter. I really like their glitter because it's super fine and it rubs in and doesn't come off. So I have a straw that I'm cutting to a point, and I'm going to use that to help me add this glitter where I want it. This is the fuchsia color. I'm gently tapping the straw with my finger to drop just a little bit of that glitter where I want it. So this is a great way to control how much glitter you're putting down and where you're putting it. So I'm trying to put that dark pink glitter just on the outside tips of the snowflake. I find using a straw like this is really helpful. Also, because this double-sided tape is really strong, you could use other glitters for this, whatever glitter you may have on hand. I just like this super fine glitter because when it rubs in, it's really velvety smooth and it doesn't rub off. Okay, so now that I have that dark glitter on the outside edges, I'm going to come in with a lighter pink and put it just inside of that. Now, if you don't have a lot of colors of glitter, another thing you could do is just cover this whole thing with a clear or white glitter and then add color to it with a permanent pen like a Copic marker and do whatever color you want on top of the glitter after you've stuck it in place. Now, keep in mind also that these little jars of glitter go a long way, so they'll last you a long time. So you could get a few basic colors that you really like. Okay, so now I'm coming in with the silver. I really recommend the silver from this line or the vintage silver, which has more of a champagne color. They're both beautiful. So those are some good must-have colors. So I'm adding that towards the center of the snowflake. So we're going to get kind of an ombre look with the dark on the outside edges. Now, on this example, I'm going to show you how you can kind of rub this glitter in with a bone folder. So I'm starting on the outside and working my way in. And what happens is I'm pulling some of that darker glitter in so it helps in the blending. So you don't have a harsh line between each of the colors we put down. I'm also using the bone folder to really press into it so that the glitter stays put in that double-sided tape. It kind of presses into it. So now you'll notice I'm not wasting much of the glitter here. I'm also going to use my finger to rub this in and really smooth it out. Now, glitter sticks to everything. We all know this, and a lot of people hate it for that reason, but if you have a Swiffer dusting cloth, cut off a tiny little piece of the Swiffer dusting cloth, wipe up all your glitter, and it picks it up, and you won't have a mess. It gets it off your hands, it gets it off the tools, off your table, all the excess off of your project. Those little Swiffer dusting cloths are great. They're disposable, but you just cut a small piece and you can use one for all of the projects at once. It really is amazing how it holds onto that glitter and prevents a mess. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and cut any of the extra cardstock that's hanging off. Now you'll notice that the other side of our double-sided tape is revealed here. I could have stuck this down earlier, but I wasn't real sure what I was going to do. You can kind of actually see through that glitter and that adhesive and put this on a clear tag if you wanted to, but I decided to stick it to some white cardstock here. Again, I could have stuck that double-sided tape to the white cardstock before, but this worked just fine for me. So I'm going to press this in really well to make sure it sticks, and then trim the excess from around it. So now I have a white backing to this where I can write a fun message to whoever I'm giving this to. I decided to add a die cut word to the center, and this is a piece of craft foam that has a sticky back and glitter on the surface. I just found this in my kids' craft stash and I totally stole it. And it die cuts beautifully if you use a shim in your die cut. I like the memory box shim. And this is an Ellen Hudson Celebrate die. It's from Julie Ebersol. I think it's a fantastic one. It works for the holidays or for birthdays or other things. So this has the sticky back on it, so I'm going to go ahead and stick that right onto my project. I like that the craft foam is easy to kind of move around and get positioned just right. Now, if you don't have craft foam, instead you could die cut several Celebrate die cuts from black cardstock, layer them on top of each other, and put glitter on the top surface, or do like an embossing glitter on the top surface. Now that craft foam flattens when it goes through the die cut machine, but it will pop back up after a few minutes. And then we have a very simple sentiment in the center of this. Now, I decided to go all out. If we're doing glitter, we might as well just do it all. So after I rounded the corners of this, I decided to spray this sucker with some clear shimmer spray. There are a few different clear shimmer sprays out there that I like. This is one that I've had for a while from Sukaneko. But you could use Perfect Pearl Spray. You could use W+9's Clear Spray. This is the one I reached for first. You always want to mist from very high up, like 1 or 2 feet from above. Then heat it up gently just to dry it. And now that gray cardstock has some soft shimmer to it. Hard to see in the video, but in real life, the shine is just so much fun. Now I'm going to use my corner chomper to punch a hole in the top. I never measure it, I just eyeball it. And once you put the ribbon on there, if it's not perfectly centered, nobody will know. Now I'm taking a few different things here. I've got a long piece of white silk ribbon, a piece of baker's twine, some silver string threads, and I'm going to put that through the top of the tag. And I'm just going to do a bow with all of these at once. One of the fun things about doing several layers together is that it adds a lot of interest, but the other fun thing is your bow doesn't have to be perfect. When you have all these elements there tied together, the bow can be completely wonky and it'll still look good. So it's a great way to cheat and make something fast and interesting. So I'm just going to create this bow and quickly cut the ends, and that's all we need to do to finish off that tag. And remember, on the back of the tag, you can write a little message or you can add this to a card or gift. So this kind of has a feminine feel to it, but you can change this up by changing up the colors. Okay, now I wanted to do another example, this circle tag that you see there to the left. Now this one I'm going to do a little bit different. It's just another way to do this. This is the Hero Arts Winter Cheer tag. It's a die and stamp set that come together. They work great together. I die cut the die from some gray cardstock, and I have that ready to go. Now here I have a piece of that Be Creative double-sided tape again. This time I'm going to stick it onto some white cardstock from the beginning. Now this is going to be really helpful. Now this is some super thick white cardstock. I think this is 110 white cardstock. If you don't have a heavyweight cardstock, you can double up 2 pieces. Now I'm going to put this through my die cut machine, and what happens is that that tape and that cardstock are thick, so that die only really cuts through the tape part. So I can remove that release paper and leave the tape and the cardstock behind. So I'm just taking out that release paper, and it's the ornament itself. And now I'm going to put the gray ornament in its place. So you see it just fits in like a puzzle. And I'm going to use my bone folder to really rub it into place so that we can be sure it's stuck there. Now I'm going to use my craft knife to weed out the little pieces of release paper that are left inside of that circle. So now we can add glitter to those areas only. I could have done this tag like the one I did in the first place, where I didn't do that extra die cutting step, but in some dies, doing that die cutting of the double-sided tape is helpful. So I just wanted to show it. Okay, now again, I just took the release paper off the areas where I want the glitter, and now I'm adding some dark pink, light pink, and silver glitter into the open areas. Now this time, I wanted to show you another way to do this. Instead of using a bone folder, I'm just doing this with my fingers, and I'm starting in the inside and slowly working my way out. And that helps to spread one glitter into another so you get a nice blended look. Now I'm going to have glitter all over the place here. Again, I'm grabbing that same piece of Swiffer dusting cloth and cleaning everything off again. You will be amazed how much that little dusting cloth helps in cleaning it up and making glitter completely bearable. I promise it does. Okay, so again, you can use your finger or bone folder to really press that glitter into place. This keeps it from rubbing off when you put this in the mail or add it to anything. It really stays put. Next, I can go ahead and cut the excess from out around the die cut shape. And then I need to add my sentiment. Now, I should have probably done this at the beginning before we did anything else with that gray die cut, but I didn't think of it. So now I'm using my anti-static powder tool, rubbing it over the inside of there because I don't want it to stick anywhere else. And I am stamping the Mary with Versamark ink, and then I'm going to add white embossing powder. Now I want to let my heat gun get really good and hot before I bring it to this because I don't want to warp any of that adhesive underneath, any of that double-sided tape. So it's good to make sure your heat gun is hot so it goes ahead and heats emboss very quickly. Again, I just took a bunch of strings and threads and baker twine and looped it on the top and tied it in a knot, and I think that's good to go. So that is a fun way you can use your glitter and your die cuts together to create an ombre look, and all that glitter is kind of set back into the cardstock, so it gives an inlaid look too. Just a fun technique that I hope you'll give a try. Thanks to Ellen for having me here today. It's fun to use the Hero Arts products along with the Ellen Hudson products. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.